This is going to be the third session of the game, the second session of this group rocking out with role-playing. We are presently in Kitsune Mori, and we have just crossed into the winter section of Winter Court. However, it's it's not always guaranteed to just be a nice, gentle thing. Matsuichi has the interesting scenario where he's been through Winter Court once before, and now he's going to go through a second one. He's potentially looking at a very boring next 3 months, unless things change. Meanwhile, Akakyoku is very much in his element, since Winter Court is something that he kind of enjoys. It's a nice, peaceful time for him to not have to worry about investigating murders in Phoenix Lands and dumb shit like that.
Honestly, given a choice, I'm probably going to spend some time in their library or something.
The Fox Clan has a small library, but they do have a library. A few things that you'll notice about Winter Court presently. The Fox Clan, not the entire castle, there's quite a bit of entertainment, and it's nice and peaceful. Because that's the one thing about Winter Court is you technically you have peace between the clans during the winter. In this Winter Court, the Fox Clan seems to be a little bit worried. Just a little bit of air of worry going on, and it can be expected given recent events. The daimyo has been spotted multiple times, with hand on chin, looking into the distance, whispering with her closest confidants. There's a handful of Kitsune clan upper staff, besides the 100 samurai who serve the clan. There's a good 3 days pass, and you notice during those 3 days, there's several times where even though the servants are still kicking around, making sure you guys are doing fine, the Fox Clan goes and has a secret meeting later in the evening. And within 3 days, twice, they pull the higher ranking members of the clan aside and talk about various things. The Crane Clan have a small contingent, but some of the contingent has left for a different castle. If you guys want to, you can go outside and enjoy the first snowfall. You are used to the first snowfall being something you hide from. Because you're in the Phoenix Clans, you're in the most northbound territory of Rokugan. So if you want to, you can go outside and enjoy the first snowfall, which really is just a very light drop of snow.
No, snow is something I hate.
You're gonna say
snow? Oh dear Lord, extra
Yeah.
clothes.
So-
It's going to be bad. Wait a minute, I'm in the south.
Yeah.
It won't be that bad. I can take a couple layers off.
So you'll notice actually, peering through a window or through a cracked door, there actually are a few kitsune out there playing samshien in the snow. One of the Unicorn Clan samurai is talking to them for just a little bit.
I'll be sitting outside enjoying the first snow again.
That's right. Actually, the last time you enjoyed the first snow, you enjoyed it from a balcony where you actually had a window you could look through. Because that was Isawa Mori forest. And the Isawa Mori snow is a little bit thick, as this guy would know. There is something that happens about 6 days into Winter Court. They do hold a entertainment for people who are not Fox Clan, but it's held on the second floor. There's actually some of the actual, not Fox Clan, but Kitsune girls come up and they do a dance where it's a bit more athletic, and it has this very strange, old-fashionedness to it, where it's not like a no dance. Modern Rokugan has very patterned and paced ways that you dance. It has a very interesting flavor to it. But the funny thing is when they're throwing that Kitsune dance, which is entertaining to watch, downstairs, the Fox Clan, all of them are throwing a meeting. And so you guys are having music and dance upstairs for an hour, but downstairs they're throwing a meeting.
Am I going to be an inquisitive fool? I actually think I'm going to.
What are you going to do?
I'm thinking I might just attempt to invite myself to their meeting.
Ooh. Now, here's the sad thing. How are you planning on going about that? Because you are upstairs on the second floor. There are, the usual casual guards, right? And then, technically, where you're at is on the second floor. You're up here, and they are in the main hall down here. So
I was going to go borrow a book and sit next to a window or something, try to overhear what they're saying.
Ooh. You don't know this castle too well. Do you have stealth skill?
No. That's why I have the book.
You're being open about it, right?
Yeah. If I get told, hey, go back to the dance, I will. But it's one of those. I want to unofficially know what's going on. That way I can formulate clan plans.
Go ahead and grab. You have awareness plus. What's a good skill?
Or I could be trying to write a haiku or something.
You don't have acting. That's the most bold one for what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Do you have an etiquette skill?
Which ones are etiquette?
It's just called etiquette.
No.
Investigation doesn't work in this case.
No.
Courtier doesn't work in this case either. Sincerity could work. Do you have sincerity?
No.
Okay. Sincerity is your lying skill, by the way. That's kind of a fun way to name it. Let's go ahead and have you just roll awareness and see what it rolls out to. I see an 8. And I see a 3.
I keep both.
That is, keeping both. That is an 11. That is a basic success of the most basicness. If you plan on sitting outside of their room and reading a book outside there are 2 guards at each door. And the guards will eventually come and say, this is a strange place to read.
Light's better.
If you want to, we can go out to the porch or we can go to the reading room on the 2nd or 3rd floor.
Please, show me the way.
He does show you the way, and you are brought farther away because the library is on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
And it's, by the way, it's a small one-room library, by the way.
I figured.
But the reading room is adjacent to that and actually has a very thin, like, rice paper opening that they usually keep shut, mostly. But it's a very thin one, so it actually lets in a butt ton of light from, like, 3 different sides. And it's angled so it comes from where the sun shines. It's like an alcove that sticks out. Mm-hmm. It has a window on both sides. And it's the only room on the 3rd floor that does that. You have to go on the 4th floor to get a room that does that. You have been distracted. If you want to, roll perception. There's no alertness skill in this game. Roll perception and invest in like 1 dice worth of investigation, not full, 1 dice, to see if you can catch any little tidbit from what they say.
Keeping 3?
You're probably going to knock that 1.
Yeah.
This is an 11. That is a 9. 20. Nice. You caught something. You hear someone you have never heard the really voice before say, Mantis clan troop formations tend to be plentiful and have decent numbers. This is something we don't have. And then you hear Yukimura's voice respond in kind. Well, considering that, we do have this advantage. And then at that point, you're taken away. So that's what you heard in the background while this other conversation was happening.
While I'm up here, I'm going to send a note or a letter off to the clan heads, letting them know that there may be military/political consequences for the Fox clan and the Mantis. I would request some guidance.
Okay. You, Matsuichi, you did, unless you want to be completely oblivious to it, you have the option of having seen him depart the room because you're out in the open. Everybody can see everybody.
I
didn't even
do
hide the
notice.
fact.
I will.
Did you want to see what he's up to or nay?
Sure. I will pretend to go for a stroll outside in the snow.
Cool.
To keep an eye out on what's going on and see
All
if I
right.
can get lead away.
Yeah, you did see him lead away, and you know he's being led up, so you can follow him if you want to.
And we know that there's a meeting going on with the Fox clan.
Yes, we do. There are guards. There's like 1 or 2 at each door, depending which door we're talking about. And the guards, of course, can hear the meeting itself. They're the lowest ranking samurai.
As the guards, there's only 1 guard at the moment in front of the door.
If you're going on a stroll outside, there's 1 guard, because remember how I said there's 1 door you don't go to because it leads directly outside? It's usually more etiquette kind to lead out a side door, so side door into the hall as opposed to the 1 door that leads right outside.
So 2nd floor, 1st floor, right? So I went for a stroll right down to the 1st floor where...
Yeah, I'll just show you because I might as well. How it works is you've got the main hall. This is like big. And you have the hallways, right?
Yep, they go along the edges.
And you have the outside porch, 2 little like sub doors here kind of. But there is essentially a step down. And the step down has, door, like door, and then door. And then this is actually like a timber that goes up. This is the armory, actually. So you can't go into the armory and listen from this angle.
Yep.
Door here, dais, right? Because the entire castle, it's cute and Kitsune, the entire castle is like that size,
Yeah.
So that's the entire castle size. But inside, like here, you have this, 2 guards each here. And this out here with 1 guard posted, because why not, right?
Yep.
There's like other rooms over here, but we're not touching on those right now. There's actually some outbuildings, and there's, when you stroll outside, you see they actually have old tree trunks. They have those like prayer ropes tied around them and stuff like that. So it's actually really nice to step outside. But trying to get back in and hear the meeting, they've got all the angles covered. He discovered that the hard way.
Yeah.
However, they are holding a meeting down there.
I'll go ahead and
The sad thing is,
if I'm outside, I'll sit on the porch in front of the guard.
Uh-huh.
And is the meeting loud enough to hear from that point, or would I have to be up against the wall?
You probably want to be closer. Actually, there is a little bit of a problem with being outside. There is rustling of wind through the trees, has some slight volume to it, and that, plus there's a sound of like clacking of swords and kendo off on one side for some reason. Clacking of boken off on one side. So you have that keeping you from hearing it very well. You'd have to be next to the door, not out here, to hear it very well. You can make one hell of a perception roll if you want to. You could beat like 25 or 30.
No, I'll go up to the doors where there's only one guard now.
The one guard is going to ask you what you're up to. He's not as nice as the other one.
Mm-hmm. I was going for a stroll outside. But it would be real nice if I had a cup of tea.
The Kitsune dance had refreshments. If you need tea, and did they run out or something? Or are you just down here trying to listen to our little meeting?
I was just suggesting that tea in the snow would be really nice.
Tea in the snow would be really nice, he says. I have an idea.
I do, by the way, actually have the Sincerity skill.
Go ahead and roll Sincerity and Awareness, keeping awareness, versus what this boy has. And he's your average fox dude, so. I made a roll. Oh boy. It's not the worst roll, it's not the best roll.
I rolled 2 10s.
Let's roll changes. So,
20.
2 10s. And what do those explode into? These two?
No, the 2 on the
so, you got a 19 and a 15. Holy, you are good at lying.
I'm good at being sincere.
You're good at being sincere,
I
yes.
actually can't lie.
Oh. You're good at being sincere.
So that's why I'm trying to play a soldier.
Ooh.
I'm trying to suggest that he should find someone to bring me tea.
Essentially.
Yeah.
You rolled a 34. And he is right now rocking out at a 23. So with his 23, I'm going to be unique and creative here, but it still saves your butt. You have the can't lie disadvantage. So you can't push Sincerity as far as it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and penalize you on this roll. Dun dun dun. Good news is 24 still beats 23. So you win, and a servant does bring tea, and you and the guard actually sit outside. His conversation blocks you from really hearing what's going on inside the meeting, but you can talk to him and ask him questions.
There definitely seems to be a lot of worry about the events that will happen after Winter Court, especially here.
The Mantis clan are kind of a dangerous clan.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like the Crane clan seems to be showing much support either.
The Crane clan backed off a little. The good news is the Crane and the Mantis have been fighting a lot. So the Crane clan is actually more likely to either not fight or fight the Mantis. I'm okay with that. I've been thinking about it, and I'm just waiting to see what our Lords of the Fox have in plan. We don't have the ability to take the Mantis on head-to-head, and I hope that Yoritomo Kaneka does not influence the court harshly. I don't know much about him, really. But I do know that the bigger guns amongst the Mantis political machine have been in Crane courts.
He did seem to lose his composure during that meeting.
Oh, he didn't just lose his composure. He kind of decided to just spit at us and walk away. It doesn't happen all the time. When that happens, something bad occurs. You have a conversation with him outside. Was there anything you were specifically trying to do upstairs with sending that message, right?
Mainly I'm trying to request guidance, what help I may or may not be allowed to give.
Here's the funny thing about being Phoenix Clan and being in the Winter Court. Winter means the means of communication, which is primarily letters, has shut down. The Winter Service does not operate for 3 months of Rokugan's year because it's winter. We're suffering from that right now, but you are Phoenix Clan, and what's one resource the Phoenix has in spades?
Birds.
Magic.
Gotcha.
It is possible you may have an arrangement where you actually know how to get ability to communicate with the Phoenix Clan magically, but you'll probably have to incite something from a shugenja over here. So what you may want to do is tell a Fox Clan shugenja to send a message to a Phoenix Clan shugenja and have the Phoenix Clan shugenja, port you back.
Okay, that would work.
That's the weird thing. Shugenja kind of work like radio sometimes. So they'll send a message, someone gives the message back. Actually, let's do this. It doesn't happen during this time period, but it's after the meeting. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and roll to talk to a Fox Clan shugenja and see about getting a spell cast.
Keeping both.
Wow, that's a measly 13.
I don't have courtier.
You don't have courtier, you don't. Good news is that you don't have to have, like, you don't have etiquette either.
No.
Yeah, that's right, you're mostly an investigator.
I'm an investigator.
You're an
I'm
investigator.
not a political savvy dude.
That's okay, though. Don't worry. There's not a problem with that. Who is the most likely to hear your pleas? Here's what's going to happen. There's a lady named Kitsune Anzumi. Anzumi is one of the priestesses of the court. She's a very spiritual person. And she's very well known for having more of a Yamabushi aspect to her shugenja skills than being like a courtier. She knows a spell that allows messages to travel. And she has a contact in Crane Lands that may be able to contact the Phoenix for you. So it's going to have to chain out. But guess what? The Phoenix are excellent at sending long-range messages. And they're not going to have a problem going directly from Phoenix Lands, 2,000 miles away, or is it 1,500? I forgot, to where you are in Fox Lands. She's going to make a quick roll here, and we're going to see how this turns out. Roll for some Fox Clan stuff. Then I'm dropping the 1. Keeping the 8, and the 6. The spell is cast, and it takes a little while, though.
I'm not expecting anything fast. Let's be honest. It's winter.
You know what? You get a note from the Crane Clan, but back from the Fox Clan, like that evening, saying you will be contacted by... She botches the name. You don't recognize the person. You'll be contacted 3 days from now. You'll actually be able to get a shugenja message then. Did you guys want to talk about your different conversations with each other, or no?
I wouldn't have a problem with that because frankly, I don't know who this guy's affiliated with other than the fact that he's an independent.
Yeah.
Which I personally have no problem with. Independents are independent because they can't stand politics. I don't like politics.
One of the things about this guy that you do know, it is really weird that the Kitsune and the Fox Clan, both of them have allowed this Ronin into their court. Ronin don't attend Winter Court. And in fact, Matsuichi, if you look at the previous sessions, he was technically a Lion Clan retainer. Not actually, but he was treated as one, and that's why he got in. A whole different ball game from what you usually expect.
I do also occasionally say really weird, ominous things about things that are going to happen somewhere up north. I do want to get the impression from the Fox Clan guard, or if it's overheard about Saruchi, the impromptu Mantis Clan representative, and see if they have good feelings about him, or if he won't relay a good diplomatic state between the Fox Clan and the Mantis Clan.
Talking about that, I'm just going to roll a basic thing for him. Wow, nice. He's very well composed. He says, Saruchi family are essentially a family of the Mantis that might as well be a bunch of bounty hunters. They've always rubbed most samurai the wrong way, and they have some pretty extreme views. I mean, they've cooled down over the years, but I don't know. The Saruchi family, they're unique, he says.
Well, he might be one of your best bets for a diplomatic conclusion to this, so...
I haven't thought of that, but then again, I'm just a guard, he says. Did you guys have anything you want to converse with any of your other affiliates during that evening after you get the message from the Fox Clan Shugenja? Or did you...
I'm going to try to put some feelers out. Find out what's, like, rumors are going around through the servants.
Through the servants? Talking to the servants, what kind of skills do you have that are more rustic-like?
Investigation, medicine, history, or...
How many dice do you have in medicine?
That would be a 3.
So you're strapping for medicine. You want to roll 1 dice of medicine and then your awareness. This is to socialize with, like, the peasantry and the servants. They do actually have a apothecary, a herbalist storehouse as well, but that's a different thing than the full-fledged apothecary. So go ahead and roll that. See what you get.
Keeping 2 of these. And the 10 becomes... Wow.
That 10 exploded. Hell, you want to flirt with some peasant girls?
Probably. 30. Flirt? Yeah, sure.
You're talking with some of the peasant girls that are, servant girls that are amongst the medical and the apothecary station. And a lot of them are kind of worried. These girls don't know what's going to be happening, and they don't have a lot of information. They do know that they certainly have a bunch of orders to fill.
I'll definitely help them out by I'll offer to help me. some of those orders for them.
One of the snappier girls is like, tut, 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 this is our job. You are definitely a samurai, but trust me, this is something we do.
I'm getting my hands dirty for a pretty lady.
She's like, oh, come now. If you want to place an order, we'll fill your order and take your koku. For now, let us get back to doing our work. Our master would be very pained to see us not finish this tonight.
As you wish.
You also found it kind of odd that she talked to you like that way. But you don't look like a standard clan samurai.
No.
She may have mistaken you for a ronin. Because most Phoenix wear orange and fire colors.
Yep. And
you're primarily blue with hints of those fire colors thrown in there.
I probably should have been wearing red, not blue.
Don't worry about it. It's all good. Did you have anybody you want to talk to or contact? You've put your feelers out amongst the servant. What about you, Matsuichi? Any good ideas from you?
I'm gonna go after that and having my tea in the snow and getting to see how that works. I will actually go talk with our Mantis friend, Tsuruchi, during entertainment, or after entertainment, or a break in entertainment.
Magoichi-san. When you find Magoichi, he's in one of the corners, and they've actually set up a weird combination of there's some sake being poured amongst the women that he's with. When you're watching, you get the impression that those women aren't his, by the way. They're just co-workers of his. That's to clear that up. The girls are pouring sake, and he has sake in front of him, but he's you can tell he's trying not to go for the sake. He actually seems a little on edge. The Mantis were all talking amongst themselves, and then you decide to come up at the corner. The shortest of the girls kind of has this snappy look on her face when you come along. She's like, psst, and she kind of motions with her head, and the rest of them all look at you as you're approaching, and so you have 4 pairs of eyes on you.
May I join you?
I forgot your name.
Matsuichi.
Ah, Magoichi. We have the same suffix to our name. Your parents had good taste. He scoots aside. Do you want some sake or would you prefer tea? I'm trying to live off of well-honeyed tea instead.
I'll encourage your good habits.
Tea it is. The one girl reaches over and says, Magoichi. And she says, no, I can't drink right now. I have a duty I must perform and I must be level at this point in time. Fighting is one thing, court is another. You notice that these girls have a lot less manners than Magoichi does. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to be well-mannered in the company of someone. The middle height girl, she kind of leans over and says, Magoichi, you're being very polite with a ronin. I mean, you haven't been doing anything bad, have you?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing terrible.
I was going to say, did we save this guy from having his stuff go
He's
through?
also super drunk.
Yeah.
There was a very curious incident a few nights ago with that intruder. I won't identify who it is. I'll just say intruder.
I saw that Wait! Was that the same night where people bust into my room?
So that did happen, yes.
I don't know what I was actually remembering.
It was a good thing Akakyoku was around.
Wait, Akakyoku was there?
Yeah, he helped stop the intruder. They were, interesting enough, apparently looking for something in the once... What was the name of the lord? The diplomat?
Kaneka?
In the room that once belonged to Kaneka.
Oh.
His room.
His old chest. He left in a hurry. He actually left 3 important things behind. I can imagine why someone would be after those. Thank you for reminding me of that. It's been a while, hasn't it?
I think you'll find that small details can be very important. For example, like the crane suddenly deciding to excuse themselves so soon after the incident. All those small details will be important as they kind of unravel into the future. Which we know there are no second chances.
Well, that's another fun detail, he says.
Mm-hmm.
The key to that chest, Kaneka has it. There's a bit of brightness in Magoichi's eyes, and he looks up and says, I think we could use more sake. Let's go get some more sake. You're in the room, by the way, there's other people on the other side of the room, and other people are talking there. But he says, let's get some more sake. And he stands up, bows to the rest of the room. The other girls actually bow as well, but they follow after him.
I keep my snide comment to myself of good habits die quick.
Yeah. What happens is you guys go to a side room. Riko, the middle height girl, she taps Magoichi on the shoulder and says, I'll take the other side. And she does enter the room. The really short girl, the kind of impish girl, she actually stands in front of the door. Were you tagging along or nay?
I actually would probably spend most of my free time with him if
Okay.
I'm not with the servants or doing any other investigative things.
His role in whatever's unraveling will be important.
You learn that the tall girl introduces herself as Matsuichi Ami. She's in the same room with Matsuichi Magoichi and you. It's just you four. And weirdly enough, there's no sake in this room. So he sits down and says, of all the clans, after the war with the spider, the Mantis have fought the crane the most. You have a good mind for this thing, Matsuichi-san. I am inclined to hear what you have to say if you have anything good to say that I may have been missing.
What's the guy's name?
His name is Magoichi. The girl's name is Ami.
Okay.
By the way, Ami is less of a samurai name and closer to like you might call a G-samurai or, Budoka name as opposed to a samurai name. Something you know?
Matsuichi-san, how is your head?
My head?
Yes, we did land on you.
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Well, it was me and the assailant, but yes.
Don't worry about that. I'm actually more worried about my position here.
May the wind hear that prayer.
I do think that if you aren't called by the Fox Clan for a meeting, that would be a bad sign. But I do think that Tamagi-san is genuine in her hope for a stable relationship with the Mantis Clan. So
Yamagi's an interesting one. I haven't been tracking her career at all. We were technically here on other business before Winter took heart. It's just, we kind of diverted here instead of ending up where we wanted to. So I wasn't supposed to be here in the first place.
Were you after someone?
Oh, shot him full of arrows. Plenty of koku. We're good. He looks and says, of all the things that could have happened, I would have expected a Mantis emissary to react like that. It's because the Mantis are actually a really weak clan right now. 100 years ago, the Spider Clan literally tried to obliterate us. And the funny thing is, as he's speaking, there seems to be a commotion down the hall. He actually pokes his head. You hear a door open outside. Natsumi pokes her head in and says, "Psst, something's going on." There's samurai who tromp by. You can see there's like Fox Clan uniforms tromping by. Magoichi looks at you and says, we will continue this conversation later. Ami, on my left.
Shall we follow?
She's up and going. You're with him, right?
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm more than willing to follow. Armored guards inside the castle. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, 2 of them are armored, 2 of them are not. When you got into the main room, you have various different. There's Magoichi and you guys, but there's various different guys scattered left and right. The Crane Clan have their leftovers here. The Unicorn Clan are like there, whatever. They're all scattered about. Out from one of the doors, you guys are following them. Out from one of the doors, there is a procession of what looks like 2 armed guards are carrying someone who obviously is a little bit on the injured side. You can't see what's going on there. There's a shugenja falling right after them. There's 2 unarmored guards that they have their hands on their sword, but they're looking pretty aware, but they're also just, eventually just flanking these guys.
Watching the prisoner or the area?
The area. One of the senior samurai here is an older guy by the name of Kitsune Motosugu. And Kitsune Motosugu, he's kind of a relatively gray-haired older dude, but he's leading them. He's calling out, "Yamagi! Everyone." He looks about and says, "Give us some space." Yamagi was off conversing with other Kitsune clan people and was being watched by the Crane and the Unicorn, weirdly enough. She kind of turns, goes back to the dais. Just where the border of it is, she turns and just takes a seat there and says opposition. "What's wrong with Yoko?" Once everything happens, you notice things turn sideways and you're coming in from the side. There is a peasant girl who's carrying a box, a large box. You recognize the box immediately as the kind of box that swords get carried in.
An evidence box.
You might see it that way for right now.
I step closer.
Yamagi is looking at what's going on, and the shugenja pipes in and says, "Oh, she'll be fine in a moment. Lay the box down, Yoko." And strange, she pulls down, and the box goes thump, like relatively heavy, in front of where Yamagi is. And Yamagi scoots back a bit. Yukimura then comes into the room from the side and says, "What's going on?" He looks and says, "I smell something foul in that box." You should. Mototsugu takes his wakizashi from his belt, goes to the corner of the box, flips it, and then knocks it open. And inside, you immediately recognize it as a Spider Clan sword. The way it's designed, first of all, the Spider Clan had no problem putting foreign influences into their swords. This one's heavier at the tip, so it's not even a katana. It has almost like a heavier tip, and then it comes down. This would be called a dotanuki by technical Japanese terms. The sword guard has an obvious prong on one side. The hilt is curved the opposite way. Katanas are linear weapons. This thing was obviously designed by someone who wasn't thinking traditional Rokugani. Looking at this, Magi says, "Why did you bring this here?"
Is there just the one sword in there?
Just the one sword.
Why she dropped it like that? Like the box was heavier than one sword.
Mm-hmm. The shugenja behind. Takakode is the shugenja involved here. And he's actually known for being a healer type. He said, "The person carrying that sword earlier was me, and it was affecting me something sharply. That sword has a very interesting curse plate upon it." "What kind of curse?" says Yukimura as he's leaning in looking at the thing. "I felt stifled. As I lifted it, I felt as if my confidence and surety of my nerves were taken away. Strangely, though, when this peasant girl put it into the box, I noticed it wasn't affecting her as much. However, we essentially did force her to carry it all the way from the border we found it upon to here."
Can I look at her and see if there's something medically wrong with her? Just observation.
She is exhausted.
Obviously, she walked like 30 miles.
She probably walked a good lot. Honestly, it's like 21 miles in the snow with whatever she had on her at the time. Mistreated peasant here. The funny thing is that she's actually doing relatively good now, sitting off on one side.
Can I motion for a servant to make a motion for tea or something? Point at the girl.
Yeah. You can do that. One of the other fox has actually done the same thing. Some lesser Fox Clan samurai you haven't met yet. Out of almost impulsiveness, Yukimura comes up and goes to put his hand over the handle of the sword, and you can see his hand suddenly starts shaking, and he looks at it awkwardly. And he pulls his hand back. And then he puts his hand is shaking as it goes over the sword. He hasn't even touched the sword yet. He pulls his hand back. Yamagi looks over and says, "Yukimura has the finest hands of any samurai in the Kitsune clan, and in the Fox clan. I have never seen his hands shake before touching a sword before." Tokome, one of the Fox Clan samurai girls, comes up. Yamagi looks down. "Put your hand over the sword as well." Lifting up her hand. "Put your hand towards me first." And so this Tokome girl comes up and puts her hand towards Yamagi, and her hand's shaking a little bit. Yamagi leans in and says, "You are a samurai of my clan, and you have the bravery of your ancestors within you. Calm yourself." Her hand actually starts shaking a little bit more at that. "We can stand here until you're calm, Tokome."
Can I make a step forward? A single step?
Yeah, you can balance that
a
forward.
little bit?
Yes.
So I'm placing myself in a position where I'm willing to do what they'll try to pick that sword up.
Tokome, go ahead. "Your name again, good sir, of the Phoenix clan?"
Akakyoku.
Akakyoku. Of the Asako family, yeah. Yes. The investigator that came along. Thank you for coming. First, hold your hand towards me. I want to see your bravery. You are a very steady man. Go for the sword. Make a willpower roll, but guess what's going to happen? Go ahead and, let me just clean out the dice mess I made. Just willpower. Go ahead and roll willpower right here. Nice! You're rolling bomb with these. A 10 every time. Son of a bitch. You're doing great. Here's what happens. You notice something weird. Rolling these. I'm going to add Shadowlands clicking dice. So, I'm going to add this.
3 and a 1.
It. Okay, so you, just with those two dice right there, you've already beat it. You can feel something acting on your hand, but you're also realizing, for some reason, you don't feel so bad.
Actually pick the sword up.
You grab the sword. First of all, you realize that's one comfy-ass hilt there. You know how they use shark skin and rougher materials on katana hilts so that usually your hand has some real grip to it? Whoever did this put like some plush velvet wrapping in there, and it feels good to actually pick up the sword tactically, but you still feel that kind of shiver go up your nerves. The groom kind of gasps when you do it. This sword weighs 21 pounds or so just off the bat. It's much heavier than a katana should be.
Heavy, cold, but very comfortable.
What do you feel like doing with the sword right now? Because right now, the sword hasn't done anything stupid to you yet.
Honestly, I'm tempted to put it in my belt or something like that. Cool. It's comfy. I might actually be able to use this for something.
Yamagi holds her hand out and says, I am claiming that as property for the Kitsune clan simply because that was involved in violence on our border, and we found it again.
Not a problem.
May I just look at it real quick?
You may inspect the sword. Go ahead. You have a weaponsmithing skill. And you may roll weaponsmithing plus perception to go to town on that one. We're going to go with mixing perception with weaponsmithing because this isn't you working the weapon, you're appraising the weapon.
So I'm rolling...
Do you have a separate appraisal skill?
I have appraisal, just 1 point though.
Weaponsmithing is more important at this point.
Yes.
Appraisal will help you in
So
all
we
kinds
roll
of things.
5, keep...
Toss a void point in there then.
Probably here.
Oh, no.
What was that?
That was a 4.
It was a 4? Okay.
I just rolled a 10.
Yes, that 10 avoid. 18, nice. By the way, I'm going to work something towards your advantage here. You have a flaw called Fascination of Swords,
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely. That's why I spent the void point.
I got good news for you. You are the man to look at this sword right now. Guess what you're like angled towards? Sword lore. I don't know if you have the lore swords on your character sheet, but
No,
you could start growing that without any explanation because you and your hobby have a fascination going after swords. You know a few things just looking at this. This is a former Spider Clan sword. The curse that is laid upon it is probably something that works with some kind of karmic intent. You can tell the work on this sword was kind of patchy. This sword was designed for outright warfare. It's not designed to be carried by a samurai. This was probably given to someone who is more of a warrior, maybe even like a budoka or a sohei. The sword does have the kind of hook and suba. The swords like that were designed, it's kind of like a sword catcher. It's probably a solid steel suba instead of being made of like brass or copper. It's designed to take the blow of a sword. The comfy hilt, that's a little bit shorter than you expect as well, probably leans toward the fact that this was not designed for Yusenai Jitsu. It's probably just a battlefield weapon. The Spider Clan probably forged this after they came to power, too. Mm-hmm. It was designed to just fill the ranks of their military.
And because it's a war sword, there's probably... Cadence, I know, is more oriented towards Crane clan work.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. That's for ornamental swords or dueling.
It is very likely a nasty sword that some random Mahosakai decided to just throw a curse onto. It must have been done as some kind of, like, stopgap measure.
Is there, like, any... investigatively speaking, can I tell how well, like, is the sword used a lot? Or is it practically brand new?
This sword has been through use.
It wouldn't show up too much comparatively to a katana or dueling sword.
Well,
it's designed to cut several times before
Yeah.
showing anywhere. And you need...
I was just curious because, based on the way it's used, can alter the way... Was it used by somebody who actually knew how to handle a sword, or was it handled by a village bumpkin?
It was likely handled by soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is like...
I would assume so, but you never know.
A peasant getting their hands on it would be just coincidence. It seems to be a remnant of the Spider Clan, which seems to be a target of a curse, either to dissuade using it by those who aren't supposed to use it, or just to increase the superstition around the Spider Clan.
Akakyoku, you may roll on perception plus investigation on this boy. Is that a 6K3?
6K3.
Knock it here. Kind of want to drop those dice rolls. Maybe 2 10s again. You're like knocking the 10s, man. Okay. So you get to keep 3, right?
Yep.
And these you have to keep because they're 10s and they're awesome that way. You realize that comfy suede hilt that you're putting your hands in actually is kind of musty and sweaty, kind of smelly. You want to wash your hands after this. There is plenty of blood in the suba, in the nooks in the suba, and the connection point where the blade gets tanked down and to the handle. There's actually crusts of actually meat in there, like a little bit of meat. And if you like put your face close to the blade, you'll realize, yeah, this is a butchery weapon. It's actually has been out in the snow and dirt because one side actually has dirt on the other side, so it must have fallen into the dirt.
Can I tell roughly how old the meat is, or blood?
Weeks. It's a little bit nasty. It's like grime.
Okay, so not fresh.
Not fresh.
Got it. But at the same time, there's obvious meat and shit, so it's not from the last war.
Mm-hmm.
I will let them know this was probably used about 3 to 4 weeks ago.
Yes, Yamagi said. There was a madman who was butchering, but we were not able to catch the man. He killed plenty of Hare Clan peasants on our northern border. The Hare Clan, by the way, is north of the Fox Clan. Yamagi says, we have this sword. We should destroy it.
That's easier said than probably done because of the curse itself. The very act of destroying it might harm the person destroying it.
It depends on the nature of the curse, but mostly, I'm going to be honest, it's an ugly sword. It's designed for war, and yeah, not much critique beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to request a basin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And right there, wash my hands.
Yeah. One of the shugenja actually brings sake. They bless the sake, and they pour the sake over the sword. It's kind of like a slight hold back your power thing. Sake actually boils up and steams off the sword.
Cool. Not good, but cool.
One of the shugenja will come along and actually ask if you want to have your hands blessed as well. So you'll have your hands blessed. I won't roll for it, but they'll take the time to make sure the blessing happens right.
I think part of the curse, and I will tell them that, is you actually want to use that sword. Anybody who holds that sword wants to use it.
Yamagi will nod her head as she's looking at it. Yukimura looks to the side and says, I didn't feel that way. I felt disturbed. I felt as if my hand wasn't working with me.
That's because you couldn't touch it. If you'd actually touched it and gripped it, you'd want to hold it.
Yukimura looks over. Takakote, what was your experience with the sword? Takakote kind of shakes his head and says, I felt as if all of my years were working against me. There's a little samurai, a short little adorable samurai girl amongst the Fox Clan Shugenja, walks up and makes a little note. Yukimura, you're the strongest samurai in our clan. Takakote, you're one of the strongest Shugenja in our clan. Where do you rank in your clan amongst the Phoenix?
I'm just an investigator.
He grabbed the sword and had no effect. Yet both of these strong samurai, who have great power, they felt the effect. The curse on this sword works against your prestige. The greater you are, the stronger you are, the more it goes after you.
I could see that. In my hand, it felt comfortable. It felt right. It's heavy, but it felt right.
Very interesting. There's only a way to test it.
No.
What? Oh, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that sword. That thing reeks of shadow taint. I'm not touching it.
No. I recommend we just throw it immediately into a big bag of salt.
Big bag of salt.
Or a barrel. And then throw it into the ocean. If we can't find a way to safely destroy it.
Magi points and says, your recommendation sounds good to me.
Can I do a weaponsmithing check to recall methods of destroying sword, like cursed or magic swords?
There's lots of ways to destroy swords. It's just, can you get rid of them safely?
When it comes to destroying swords in Rokugan, they aren't as persnickety as cursed swords in other settings are. Swords actually break easier than anybody would want them to.
Well, this thing's a war sword, so it's probably one of the hardiest swords there are.
Having the weapon come in contact with jade would be an interesting thing. Do we have any jade present?
Really interesting, actually.
I actually don't think I have any.
One of the Shugenja of the Fox clan is a bit of a, someone's wife kind of character. But still, she has some jade on hand for an excursion with the crab. She bows to the assembly, takes out the simple finger of jade, walks over to where the sword is, and goes to place it on the sword. She looks at everybody else. And then places it. Nothing happens. Yamagi looks at that. Yukimura looks at that. Takakote looks at that. Nenechi looks at that. And
I'm looking at it.
Well,
the
I'm
one,
expecting something to happen.
the really young, cute woman, she looks over and says, Jade usually absorbs the Shadowlands taint. It would either turn soft and dark, or the Shadowlands would recoil from it.
So is this not a Shadowland taint?
Takakote looks at it and says, the curse may come from the Shadowlands, but the sword is just a sword. Ha ha. So the sword itself is probably not poisonous. That curse, though, we have to figure something out.
Yeah.
Yamagi stands up. We are going to destroy this sword. But if what you're saying is true, we have 2 master swordsmiths in our lands. But if what you are saying is correct, then the moment a powerful and prestigious one of us tries to work with the sword, the curse will work against us.
I am willing to attempt it, but I have no idea how to do so.
We will find a way to destroy this sword.
I have experience with working with swords. Unmaking it would be an interesting task, especially avoiding the curse on it.
Barrel assault works.
Have you tried touching the sword?
Nope. I won't go near that sword.
Yeah. Matsuichi's like, ah!
He's like, oh, it looks cool. I ain't touching it. Nope. That thing's cursed, and I don't care much for that.
On top of that, this was made during a very specific point in Rokugan history where they're like, yeah, let's let's dominate Rokugan with our dark magics. Yes.
Is the steel seem good, or is it just like okay steel?
Well, it has some wear to it. You know that kind of slight rustiness that you might have to some steel? It's kind of on the darker side. It's starting to develop, small streaks of rust here and there. You probably would want to give it a full inspection, but this sword, as you're looking at it, looks like it's made of 1040 carbon steel, essentially.
It could be reforged. I would probably have to have someone more knowledgeable about the mysticism of the curse and its nature to learn how to correctly unmake the sword. But I wouldn't want to accidentally taint the forge. It probably would be best to try and undo the curse before unmaking the sword.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's not possible,
You've offered essentially your services as they are. Yamagi actually accepts. She's like, we actually have a junior swordsmith here. The sword is stowed away for the moment. One of the outbuildings in Kyuden Kitsune does contain the forge house and the place where they do make and or repair broken weapons and steel. The night after is when we're going to get the message from Phoenix Clan, strangely enough. Did you want to go do that?
Yeah, we better.
After the sword is determined that they're going to be trying to unmake the sword here at Kyuden Kitsune, the time and date comes where if you go upstairs and you take a certain scroll with you, you'll be able to communicate with one of the Phoenix Clan. Roll a dice, any dice.
Early die, any die.
1.
That's probably not a good roll. It's either really bad or really good.
Mm-hmm.
And would I know where this guy's position lies as far as in the clan hierarchy? Obviously he's higher than me, but...
The shugenja who's contacting you will be someone who's capable of long-range communication. So not going to be a junior shugenja. Someone that's higher up, essentially. Let's put it this way. They're doing this because they need to communicate with their only contact on the site for the clan. They're going to call out whoever they need to. If the Master of Air needs to perform this, the Master of Air will perform this.
Makes sense.
Master of Air is not performing this. We've actually met her in a previous session. When the scroll magic comes along, and the image on the scroll forms, you almost swear you see the face of a child, and you realize, it's just a very young woman, or so the look of it is. This image stabilizes, and you can see her face, even though it's at an angle because of the scroll. Konbanwa! I am Isawa Tsukimi, and I am presently contacting Kyuden Kitsune. Am I not?
Yes.
Tsukimimi, yeah. Say Tsukimimi. Moon ears. She says, I am glad to make your acquaintance. What was your name?
Akakyoku.
She nods and says, pleased to make your acquaintance. I have only been told that you wish to contact me. You can tell that she's trying to speak clearly into the spell, by the way. Mm-hmm. What news do you have for me?
First off, the Fox clan has seceded from the Mantis.
Her eyes bulge, but she nods.
The Mantis stormed out right after the announcement, leaving a bounty hunter as their only representative.
Her hands go to her face when she hears that one, but she's still listening. She nods, and her open eyes are still paying attention.
The Crane clan has bowed out for the most part.
Wait, what? She said?
Yeah, half of the Crane delegation has left Winter Court.
The Crane are the last family I would expect to go wandering about out in the winter. Where did they go?
Do I remember where they went?
Intelligence roll.
Because I do remember getting told.
Of course, the basic intelligence roll. I'm not going to penalize you for anything. Oh, you have a higher intelligence, don't you?
Yeah.
15's good. Kyuden Suzume, this castle of the Sparrow.
Yep. Yeah, I'll let her know. Some of the scorpions, if I remember, left with them. Or they went to a different castle farther south.
Scorpions and cranes. Why do they have to be allies now, of all things?
I actually have heard some rumors about Mantis potentially attacking the fox because of the secession. I personally have another problem. We have found a cursed spider clan sword.
Describe the sword to me.
I go into full details. I'll even attempt to draw.
You may have to lift up paper and point it at her a certain way, because if you lift it up and point it a certain way, she'll be able to see it.
Yeah. I got decent calligraphy. I can attempt to actually draw out this sword.
So she looks at that. Oh. Would you say it's really crudely made, or is it a relatively comfortable sword?
When I held it, it was comfortable in my hands. But the workmanship did not look very impressive.
That's one of the doppelganger swords. Anyone inspecting the
take that note down.
Anybody inspecting the swords would seem it to be just another Spider Clan war sword made during the occupation period. I am going to find the exact instructions on how to get that taken care of and send them to you as best as possible.
Thank you.
You will probably be contacted by my master, Isawa Fubukiya, and together you will be able to take that apart.
Okay. I actually do request some guidance on what I should be doing as far as where I have put myself out as a supporter of the bounty hunter when his clan walked out on him to try to protect him from potential lashback.
You did brave there, but that is a strange choice. The Phoenix and the Mantis have not always been friends. In this circumstance, our ties are actually closer to the Fox. I will let Fubukiya know this, and I will speak with the other elemental acolytes.
I appreciate that. Is there a method I should try to contact you through, or just maintain the chain, or wait?
There's a bit of a pause. Keep this scroll. Let us speak on every full moon, and let us speak at every new moon.
Understood.
This will allow the magical flow to work. Presently, my only instructions to you: take notes, keep watch. She kind of cocks her head to one side in departure, and the spell kind of waffles out. And you get a bunch of white light at the end instead of an actual image. It just kind of peters out.
Roll up the scroll and immediately book my ass down to the daimyo.
It is starting to get late.
And
the daimyo has
I am not walking.
You're running?
I am jogging.
Okay. The daimyo has actually retreated for the evening. Okay. Yukimura, Motosugu, someone who you've seen before but haven't actually met, and Takakote are all speaking in like that one main area, but they're sitting around a pot of tea and they're conversing. There's two Fox Clan female samurai off in one corner talking amongst each other. There's those two. It looks like on the far end, the young Lang Clan guy is left for his quarters, and you saw him leave. So it's very empty in the main room right now.
Perfectly fine with me.
Okay.
I will walk up, bow politely, and request a moment of their time.
Yukimura turns where he's sitting, and looks at everybody else. Lord Motosugu, you're the ranking Karo here. I hate to impose upon your authority. He says, Yukimura, please. He then looks up and says, you are the Asako investigator.
Yes.
We are listening.
The sword that was recovered recently is one of the doppelgangers.
Doppelganger sword.
Yes.
Takakote, what do you know of the doppelganger swords? And Yukimura is kind of like doppelganger swords. I know about the swords of the Blood Speaker. I know about the swords of shame. And I know about the obsidian swords. Takakote's like, looks up and says, we need to speak with someone who's a real sword expert. But the doppelganger swords were kind of a myth. It was assumed the Spider Clan would have false blades laying around that no one would suspect they are what they are. It was less of a single blade or a type of blade, and it was more a method they used to camouflage some of their work.
The shugenja that contacted me, they will contact me as soon as they can with the appropriate methods to dispel the curse.
Meanwhile, in the library,
Yeah.
I am looking up everything about spider swords.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
What do you have as far as library skills?
Oh, nothing at all.
You have an intelligence. You have 2 dice of intelligence, right?
Yep.
You know what? Balls to the walls, it dude. Let's see those 2 dice.
Does my weapon smithing help in this situation?
You have a smithing of 3, right?
Yeah.
I like doing partial skill rolls. Go ahead and add 1 dice because you've got 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's 1 dice that'll help you. So you got 12. Yeah. Look at 12. Yay. So, you know what's sad about looking through the Kitsune Clan library? You're seeing like old history. You're seeing like tales. You're seeing things like mystical yokai stuff, and you're looking at stuff about woodland history. Very little Spider Clan lore or sword lore here.
Anything on being spirited away?
You know what? Considering your present situation, actually,
Time travel.
let me roll something just El Rando. Where's an El Rando? I like red. Let's do red for now. Rando. Hey, I like that color. Don't you like the color too?
Pretty.
12. Exactly what you rolled. Well. During the 3rd reign of the Hantei Emperors, there was a tale in which a hero from the Crane clan was summoned by the oracles. And it describes that the oracles were able to carry said person to their destiny. That's the closest you get.
Sounds about right.
You learned a little bit more about your predicament, about why you're bouncing around the universe right now. But for the most part, you don't have any lore on how to deal with this sword. It's late, so you don't have much as far as additional information on that. But guess what? I'm gonna roll a dice. Single dice. I just rolled a 1. For the second time in several days, there is a loud ruckus downstairs in the main hall. And Matsuichi, I think you're closer to that, given the fact you're not helping in the apothecary. Where would you have been?
I was going to say, wouldn't the apothecary be in the basement?
The apothecary is actually on the 2nd floor, and then there's also an outbuilding that serves as a storehouse.
Is it inappropriate for guests to have their arms in this, in the castle that they're staying at, or is it they suspect something happened? Are they?
In Phoenix Clan territory, they tend to collect your weapons at the door, or wherever, right? This is Fox Clan territory. It's not a smart thing to take a samurai's swords from him. You possess your weapon, not your war gear, but your katana and akazashi can come with you.
I will bring my wakizashi as I go to investigate.
Go ahead and roll a dice each just to see on random. 5. A 10 again. These dice are cursed in a blessed way. Don't re-roll that. I just want to see how high you rolled. Despite the fact that you were out in the apothecary doing apothecary things, you're actually capable of meeting Matsuichi in the hall and running to see in the main hall what's going on. As you guys enter the main hall, the Unicorn Clan Shugenja is helping 2 of the other Fox Clan Shugenja heal a severely injured peasant. You see blood and gashed up clothing. They look like they've been clawed, and they had abrasive concussions against them. Beaten.
Yeah, but they got me beat flat out. They're using magic. I'm
Yes.
good.
There appears to be a young man. You could call them peasant, but they're really just people who live in the forest. They are less connected to the rest of society, and they have their own ways of doing things. Fox Clan territories, you'll see a lot of these people because they don't have traditional rice farms through most of Kitsune Clan territory. This one young man, he's speaking on the side with Yukimura, and he's bowing down deeply. This man, he grabbed and slaughtered the animal with his bare hands. Yukimura shakes his hand and says, what you're describing sounds exactly like someone who is possessed of some form of evil, if not the Shadowlands taint itself.
Is the peasant describing the injured person in this way?
No. The peasant is describing something. You haven't gotten enough clues to put anything together. Yukimura turns and says, this is the same marauder that we had weeks before. It is very certain that it's tied to the sword. There's no doubt about it. There can't be the same kind of attacks twice and have it not be the same thing. The only difference, of course, there's no blades involved and no dead bodies to burn afterwards. I'm going to gather the guards, says Yukimura. He stomps off. Yamagi's not there. None of the other major names are there.
I'll hold my finger up.
What?
Did you want me to go with you?
Yukimura's already left. He wasn't even looking in your direction.
I was trying to catch his attention before he left.
As he leaves.
He left. He's in motion.
Yeah.
You do notice, remember that one girl I said was called in to help with the investigation? That's the same small, adorable-looking girl that made that notice about the curse yesterday. She actually shows up. She says, another commotion?
I'm going to go check on the sword in the storehouse. And I'm going to leave.
The sword isn't doing anything.
He's making sure it's there.
I'm checking the lock on the door. Is there a lock on the storehouse, or is it just an open?
Yeah, the place where the sword is being kept is under lock and there's a guard there.
Just checking to see if the guard is there, and then I'll glance back, come back in. Looks good.
So you're off for a second, back in the main hall. Go ahead and do your thing.
Looks like somebody attacked one of your horsemen.
Oh no. Another...
With his bare hands.
Huh? She says, cocking her head. And one of the younger samurai steps up and says, he's obviously a madman. This is the sort of thing where it has to be determined through force of arms. This man has to be destroyed.
Is he mad? Or is he desperate?
The young Kitsune looks back in your direction and is like, One of the younger shugenja there. That is a good point, but we have no way to tell the difference between the two at this time. The last attack was relatively sudden, and we hadn't gathered too much about the attacker then.
Well, look on the bright side. You have a witness. You can at least get a description, provided he lives. Medically speaking, could I tell if he's going to survive with the help of the shugenja?
Medically speaking, the shugenja would be able to help him. If it was just you and people that were natural about it, it would be a tough thing, if not death guaranteed.
What do they actually call a medical shugenja?
Believe it or not, good old-fashioned healer gets used a lot.
Yeah, I will look at the peasant that helped bring the guy in, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the other enforcement.
Where did this happen? And I will look at another one. Would you fetch my arms and armor?
Yeah, I didn't actually return back to this room. I actually went back to my room to get my armor.
Okay.
Because I want to go... I think I know what... Yukimura, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's leading a band out, so I'm going to grab my armor and join him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If I catch him before he leaves.
Why do you think I haven't left?
Yeah.
I'll send a servant to get my shit first.
Well, I'm the Ronin, so okay, I gotta go.
Forrester says, I don't think it's the same place, but this was on the road out to Humble Priest Village. The border of the forest is down the road. That's where I live. There is the gatehouse, though, that's just before the border of the forest by a mile. And that and the small thickets around there technically fall outside of our domain. But not even the hare claims those. My house is on the road to Humble Priest Village. The intersection with the river and the one bridge that crosses. That would be where I live. But farther down the road, that was where the attack took place. There's a sound of horses outside. And you're getting your armor on this point going, shit.
Faster.
Yeah. A little voice peeps up again and says, excuse me, though it might be grand to run out with the samurai, if the madman is striking and then fading away, it might be pertinent to bring a party that is prepared against the cold. It is winter, and the first snowfall has already happened. The snow may fall again. If we're to go out to beyond the borders of the Kitsune clan lands, it might be a good idea to prepare for winter first.
Probably a smart idea.
Do we have... How many spare winter clothes do we have for how many people? And one of the guards comes back and says, well, some of us have winter clothes and some of us do not. I have winter clothes, says the one small girl. There's one of the young samurais like, I always go out in the winter. It's winter patrol is one of the things I just kind of get stuck to. Remember the random someone's wife character from earlier? Apparently she actually has snow gear as well. And then in the alcove area where it leads before out into the yard, they actually have spare snow gear there, but only for 2 people. 3 actually if you want to have someone who's really, really small, not ordinary sized guys.
If push comes to shove, I've got my heavy travel cloak.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm used to the cold.
Okay.
I just don't like it.
Well, they gather a team of who they have here, of people who actually have winter gear available. And as it turns out, though Yukimura has left on patrol and whatnot, the good news about Yukimura's patrol is if someone is ready for combat, that would be the best way to find them and then get rid of them in like one soft stroke. But one of the shugenja here is really good at sending messages. Has the young person, the small voice you've been talking to, introduced herself yet? Because I think she has been speaking with you guys on a few occasions. Mm-hmm. They call her Kitsune Nenechi. She does mention she has a special affinity with one of the Kitsune shugenjas, and they'll be able to transmit messages back and forth easily between her and Yukimura. If Nenechi is the only other one that has that close affinity with the Kitsune shugenja, then they can essentially use her as a link to communicate back and forth. If she tags along with whoever is going out on another team, we can try to do a more thorough investigation on the site that got attacked and see if they can find any clues as to what's going on. Yukimura's team will be able to arrive if anything horrible happens.
I would recommend that we have at least one investigator in both teams. Mm-hmm. But that's just me. Otherwise, I would like to look at the actual scene of the attack.
That's where we're going, says the one character. She introduces herself as Kitsune Shirame. Technically, she is just a married woman in the Fox clan, but she's also a shugenja. And she actually has some healing ability. And she does have purification spells, which will help in this circumstance. Remember there's just some random young guy who just happened to enjoy having, cold winter gear? That's Kitsune Yajiro. And he's not even like part of a school. He just knows how to use a sword. And so he's essentially a body who is sworn to the clan. Then, of course, one of the Kitsune comes up. Most of the Kitsune have been keeping relatively anonymous. There's this lesser Kitsune who is kind of weird. She is in the accompaniment of like a 12-year-old fox child. A fox has like Kitsune child. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't give her name or anything, but she just passes, I think it's called a Matahagane bead, to Nenechi, and bows and offers the gift. And Nenechi, of course, bows and receives it and places the bead around her shoulder. The one Kitsune, her feet become paws, and she walks sideways around in the opposite clockwise direction around Nenechi, motions with her hand in the Rinpyo style. If you're familiar with that Rinpyo, I forgot the exact Rinpyo Kyo Ro. It's something like that, but there's 9 syllables you pronounce while doing hand signs, and it's how a lot of early onmyoji magic is performed. It was also picked up by the ninja.
Interesting. So, Dragon, really quick.
Yes.
Are we all hunting this madman, or are we just...
Yukimura's on patrol, and he's looking to go find this guy. There's no guarantee they have very good cold weather gear, especially if it gets colder. You guys are very well prepared for if it gets colder or not, and you guys can go out to the village and investigate more thoroughly than a military patrol would. Because he left in his own haste to go take care of his problem, because he's a warrior type.
He's being foolish.
As
far as an investigator is looking.
I would like to see the effects of the curse. If we wanted to lure out this madman...
That's also assuming that this is caused by the curse.
It would...
It's likely.
That is true. It is very likely.
But it is potentially possible that it was like food poisoning.
The we saw did not seem traditionally what most men would be able to do. We could lure our villain out with the cause of the curse. However, that could lead to some dramatic results.
Here, have your sword back. Wah! Now, very good news is that it is not very far from where we are at presently to the location of the attack. From Kyuden Kitsune to Humble Priest Village is a very short jaunt, and the main road goes along a major river that heads in that direction. On one side of the river is most of the forest. It's thick forest on this side. But on this side with the road, there's a little bit of patchy forest, you might say, on and around the road. And of course it peters out as the Kitsune forest ceases to grow in that direction, and it becomes just the plains around the humble priest village. It's actually very close. As you can imagine, the Scorpion clan emissaries left for that location, and they had the benefits of steeds as far as that's concerned. You guys walking can get there easily within an hour. As you walk out, you notice that the snow hasn't really stuck to the ground yet, and there is a hint, though, of snow in the air. There's a bit of that feeling in the air that snow is going to be coming down. Quick micro map of what we have. This is off of the canon map, of course, but still. So Kyuden Kitsune has a river that does this. Kyuden Kitsune is literally just a little bit farther in like this. There's Kyuden Kitsune. And there's Humble Priest Village. The main road that comes from Humble Priest Village to here. Kyuden Kitsune then has a road that crosses here. And then it has a road that goes southwesterly to Kyuden Suzume. All this land up here is like the forest, essentially. And it's thick and nasty. And there really should be small paths, if not full roads, leading out into the forest, because welcome to forest land. Kyuden Kitsune is technically surrounded by forest, too. The forest you woke up in, right? Mm-hmm. But if you go farther north, there's like patchy forest here and there that leads into... This is like the demarcation line where the Kitsune Mori actually stops growing. There's like scattered trees a little bit here and there. Somewhere here, like the attack happens somewhere out here.
Are there locations somewhere on the river where someone can cross without a bridge, or
south and further north? There is a crossing at Humble Priest Village. I should just draw that in. Yeah, yay. You have a crossing way up there, and then of course the river keeps going on.
But the river's fairly... It's not typically where someone would cross, especially during winter.
This river is actually slightly bigger than you'd expect, too. You can see the other bank across this river relatively easy, but it would still be a full trip to try to cross this. This river is a good 500 to 700 feet wide.
Let's be honest, it's not likely that somebody would have been stupid enough to try to swim it, but I'm going to keep an eye out at the banks to see if I can see obvious signs of something coming in or out of the water.
Very smart idea.
But let's be honest, wild animals do the same thing.
Yes.
So,
stupid people might do the same thing as well. Actually, if you want to do like perception plus hunting, if you want to do hunting style stuff, if you want to do perception plus investigation, just get a really general idea of what's going on and where. There's a 3, a 7. I think you're going to want to keep the 7, 6, and 9.
Probably.
So, that's a 22 right there.
Yep. Hey, there was no 10s in that roll.
And you still did good. 20. Actually, technically, once you beat 15, you've generally succeeded. It just depends what's going on. She's actually doing better than she thinks. Not bad. Okay, that's not bad at all. And then Miss I am perceptive.
With us or with the other group?
I didn't catch up to the other group. So
Yeah. It was kind of hard, too, because he kind of stomped off with the guys in Ernst's command.
Yeah.
Besides, as he did imply, maybe those guys were being hasty about something where a planned approach may be better. You know what? This girl has a future ahead of her. Look at that. That's just her just paying attention to the world. Mm-hmm. Wow.
How much of that does she get to keep?
All of it.
Nice.
This is 1 dice. Remember that 6K3 investigator that Fox Clan has?
Yep.
That's her. Same girl. Kitsune Nechi is her name. She actually says for quite some time, it's like, barring the tracks that Yukimura left and barring the tracks the Morabito left, nothing is going on here. Further down the road is where we must go. There's...
I got a question.
Yes, wait. Yes.
Does anybody know the peasant that brought the other guy in?
What do you mean?
Was he the madman?
That was one of the Morabito that works with the Fox Clan. I didn't give him like a character background, but he works with them.
Okay, I was just saying he was known. He was a
Yes.
known guy. Okay. Because if we're not seeing any actual tracks or evidence of combat, he's the most likely suspect.
It's gotten to the point as you're walking about in that direction towards the site of the attack. It's actually starting to snow out there. And there happens to be this house. Actually, that's a bit large. Big. It's still a large house. There's a house at the side of the river, and there's a few houses here. Just a little bit of a hermitage, you might say. They're peasant houses. These are about, like, I would say this would be like a 15-foot square. You have untilled field in this direction. There is a more of a swatch of forest here. There is, weirdly enough, a shrine that you see. Looks like there's actually stairs. They go to like a square area where there's a torii gate, and then there's stairs up there. And up here there's some kind of shrine amongst these trees. See? Shrine.
I would recommend we hit that spot up on the way back.
Which one? The shrine?
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. I actually did have plans to put a river crossing in there, but I realized that in the map of Rokugan, there is no river crossing there. So it's like, oh well.
You could add a little one.
In my imagination. Yeah, I could. Besides, this is also 68 years after the last canon events we have maps for. Who's the most scout-like amongst you guys? Because I hate to say it, the two girls are kind of keeping together, and the one guy is trailing them to keep a watch on them.
I'll probably lead off the way. I'm in no way a scout. I'm an investigator. I just notice things.
Sounds scout like to me.
Okay.
We're rooting for you.
Okay.
Hey, you're the one right behind me.
Yep.
So you're second in line, you said?
Yeah.
So that's essentially your marching order.
Which one's the healer girl?
Shirame, she's in the center.
Keep an eye on that one.
Shugenja?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Making sure she's safe.
Keep the healer alive.
Yep.
Who's taking swords in this party?
You, me, and the guy.
Swords. Yujiro has swords. Full daishi. Matsuichi has a full daisho. Akakyoku has a full daisho. And a bow and arrow, by the way. In case you didn't bring one along.
No, I brought my bow.
I have a bow, but
And
Shirame is a shugenja. The only useless person in the party, weirdly enough, is Nene. Nenechi is not a shugenja nor a sword carrier.
I was gonna say, if push comes to shove, I will offer her a dagger or something, or even my
Staff?
Yeah, she can have my staff.
Cool. Staff it is. She was packing a lantern, actually, but she actually then gets a moment of brilliance and puts the lantern on the end of the staff.
Works. We actually never talked about my staff. Like, would it have metal caps?
If you wanted to make it that way, honestly, in Rokugan, they oftentimes just make it out of hardwood and like work it pretty well. You can also do things to anneal it and make it tougher.
That's probably what I would do, because it is a weapon that's used to incapacitate people, not kill them.
Oh, in that case, you probably wouldn't do metal caps.
Okay.
you can do a lot with a stick.
You can. Trust me, a baseball bat can actually do as much damage as an AK-47
This
can.
little guy named Musashi, he really showed what you could do with a stick.
Yes. So as you're advancing up that road, you have houses up ahead, and there are people cowering in the houses. And then there's some middle-aged woman that comes out of a side door on this side and kind of waves you guys down.
I'll head over. Good evening. I hope.
She bows in respect to you, like she does like a peasant to a samurai-style bow. She bows. My lords,
What's the problem?
we heard noises, and there was a clashing. Earlier we had the chief man. He brought a wounded man past here, bringing it to the castle so the healers could reach him. We thought he came from beyond. There was a sound like a screaming dog. Farther up the road, close to where the river is,
Okay.
amongst the field.
Past the houses, past the town?
That's what she's saying, yes.
Okay. Did you see the other party pass here?
Samurai?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and his 3 guys.
Went on patrol.
No samurai. Just the chief man with the wounded
He
guy.
probably didn't go to the town. He probably went around the house.
He said he went on patrol. Wasn't sure if he came out here or not. I will ask her about the shrine. Has anybody gone up there recently? Is there a caretaker?
Just the one monk. This place is kept by us, and it appeases the forest spirits.
Okay. Is this... No, this isn't near the border with the Hare people, is it?
Actually, their clan's right up there.
I will ask some questions about what happened, 4 weeks ago, with the other attacks. Try to get some information on where they were.
First, there was a brutal murder. Then, there was an incident where Koichi was attacked by some raving madman. And yet, one of the rivals of Koichi actually was able to deprive the man of his weapon. However, Did not get good from there. Though he had the sword for a while, it seemed foul to us. So we left it with the samurai, and then things got worse from there.
What samurai?
Oh, the Fox Clan samurai, she says, just nodding.
Do you have a name of the samurai you gave it to?
I wasn't talking with the samurai. I wasn't the one who passed it over. It was Koichi's rival. What was Koichi's rival name? Saburo? I think it was Saburo.
Where does Saburo live?
Oh, Saburo is from across the river in the other forest. That's why he is a rival of Koichi. But Koichi, he lives in that farthest house up there.
Okay, well, go talk to him next. Has anybody been up to visit the priest recently?
In the distance, you hear someone scream a guttural scream. And she says, like she was going to answer you, but...
Yep, nope.
Oh, let's go.
Which direction?
Down the road.
That we just came up.
See this? Okay, so you are technically right here. Dice are nice, but they are a little bit big for our tactical scale here. So you were here discussing things with the woman who came out from the village, right?
Uh-huh.
Woman from the cluster of houses. You and of course the party right here came from down here. So if you're rushing out, you have this. There's like an open area here where, generally speaking, there's like essentially a yard or a place where you would like put wagons or something like that, or let animals run about. Maybe a horse might be here or there.
I'm not going to go running, but I'm definitely going to run to the corner and stick my head out.
Like here?
Yeah.
Cool. So you're posted here.
Because I'm not going to run out into a killing field.
Mm-hmm.
Not that stupid.
There's a sound that sounds like someone is severely beating a dog.
Okay.
We do have a healer with us. Cool.
Yes.
And since I got
Matsuichi,
to choose from me now, we'll go. Yeah, I'm already going. Come on.
I will go wide. If he's taking the front, I'm going to swing wide.
I'm going to go quick.
What do you mean? Which direction? So this is the general spot where you were last. Were
Yeah.
Matsuichi? I'm assuming
As he goes past me.
you were behind him, but you're going first now.
I'm going first, and I'm on the road. I'm basically attracting attention.
And you're going wide now, right?
Yeah.
I want to make sure the healer's
Towards the woods or out in the open?
Out in the open. I'm looking at it this way. Not much is going to attack you from the river, but something might attack you from the opposite side.
No, yeah, cover me.
Yeah, that's why I moved out that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so me, healer, and other samurai, right?
Yeah. Nene is not the healer. Shira is the healer, and it's the other samurai.
I'm going to tell the samurai to go with him, and then I'll tell the two girls to follow me.
Okay, so essentially...
And you should never go alone.
And these two are going to go in a package, all right? Okay.
I just motion.
It looks like a wounded animal, like a wounded dog, crawled out from behind that building and is slowly dying out there. He looks pretty nasty. You saw a lot of blood. Maybe something was hanging out from underneath the dog where it wasn't supposed to be hanging.
Does it look like claw marks like we saw, or is it like just brutal?
You're a bit off in the distance, but it looked like someone was trying to disassemble the dog with their hands. Or with claws.
Time to knock.
Where's the entrance to the house?
Oh, easy. The entrance, the house is literally right there in the front. There's a bit of a yard here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of an open area. Then this is like the shore of the river pretty much over here. There's an open area. A bit of like brushes here and there. Very small yard here as well. Right now you're actually in kind of a bit of a tossle of an area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Small brushes.
I'm just going up to the side of that door.
Which side, by the way?
Riverside.
Riverside? So
I saw the dog coming out of that side, right?
Yeah, so if you're coming from this side like that, right?
Mm-hmm. I'll have the two girls stay further away. Act as like someone who can see around the side that I'm blind, my blind spot, which is behind me.
NPCs here.
Mm-hmm.
And you're, I'm assuming, still tracing a...
I'm going around that building and going to approach it from across the road.
Where you have that dude following you.
Your echelon right here.
Yep.
What can I hear from inside?
Inside the house, you can't really hear much, but there's something like banging on one of the walls. You're not sure if it is inside or outside.
I will wait for them to get into position.
I'll start crossing the road at that point. Now.
Perception and any kind of... You want to do perception and archery?
Okay.
How many points do you have in archery?
2. No, 3. 6K3.
Nice. 9, 8.
No. One of the sevens.
7, 8, 9. So yeah. So you actually didn't keep a 7. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So you definitely spot something.
Yep.
Lurching out from behind the building is a very disgusting sight. There is a man hunched over as if he's like holding his own guts in, but he's not holding his own guts in. You see a straw hat that's very tattered. It's got like actual stains on it. They're like this brownish purple color. And he's got a disassembled, ragged straw cape over his shoulders.
Does he have the same basic clothing as the other villagers we saw?
No. This guy has clothing that looks like he comes from a more civilized area of Rokugan.
I'm going to point at the guy.
Is there still a banging inside the house?
No, weirdly enough.
I'm going to turn my head a little bit and ask the guy that's with us. I forgot his name.
Yajiro.
Ijiro, do you recognize him?
No. That's from the North Country. That clothing style doesn't come from down here. We tie up our knees. We use tabi openly. It's Hakama all the way down with him.
Okay. I'm going to attempt to leg him with my bow.
Cool. Go ahead and try to shoot the guy. His TN to be hit is a amazing... At this distance, it is going to be 18, but that's just because of the distance involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, reflexes and archery.
5K2.
I'm
That
assuming...
would be a miss.
Okay, with an 18?
It's 5K2.
Exactly. That is 13, so yeah, you... Oh shit, you think.
Yeah, I missed.
I'm going to kick the door, like just tap it open. Is it like locked or is it...
The door, actually kicking it open would not be possible since just like every other door, you have to slide them. You can slide the door open and take a look inside. It was used earlier today, but no one's in there right now.
Is there any blood or is there a mess because of the dog crawling out? Another thing?
No.
Dog crawled out from under the house?
Behind the house.
Okay.
The dog is actually... The NPCs have view of the dog right now. You guys do not.
I will call inside the house. Anyone in there?
No.
No reply?
No
And
reply.
if someone says no.
No one's in here.
Are you joking?
Yeah. This has devolved from being a possible encounter that has any kind of straight up initiative, I guess. Let's see some dice.
Oh, yeah. Is that a 0?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a 27 off one dice. I think you're get to going first, sir. So we have a 6.
We say I've got a 10.
You've got a 10.
It's a reflex.
27.
Right? No, sorry, 9. Yep.
This is mine. That's yours.
I was going to say I've got a 9.
9! 33.
So, you are so far ahead in initiative, Matsuichi. If you want to do that thing where you let other people go and then you act afterwards, that could be plausible.
Sure.
But what are you declaring you're generally going to do?
The house is empty.
Yes.
The dog crawled up from behind the house. I'm going to move to the corner. I would have heard the bow. The arrow
Yeah.
fire.
Arrow fire sounds like arrow fire.
Since I know he's across the road, I'm going to move to the corner where the road is. And those two have eyes on the other side of the house.
Yeah. You hear one of them's like, "Oh, poor dog."
So generally, I'm going to move there and then act afterwards to see if I see anything. Which I will, because there's a guy like, blah.
He just runs out into the road, and you get to see this disgusting... The guy looks like he is literally just a misshaveled, disgusting heap of a man. He's got a gouged eye. His teeth are a broken mess. He's got ignored wounds that are now festering pus and mold. And he is not a human as far as Rokugan would be concerned.
Mm-hmm. That is why I didn't touch the sword.
Okay. Looking at him, I'm assuming that no one would consider him salvageable.
Got good news for you. Maybe in modern American society, but in Rokugan society, this guy would be like executed and thrown in a pile.
Even though he may or may not have information about the sword.
If you want information about the sword from him, you can.
Yeah.
He is reacting to someone who shot at him. He's reacting in a very
We're going to...
animalistic manner.
Yeah, we're going to try to put this poor creature down.
Your method for doing so?
Probably I'm going to stand still, brace a shot, and put one into his chest.
Okay. Matsuichi, did you want to go first or no? You can wait until after the arrow if you really, really want to.
I will wait for the arrow first because I don't want to be too close for that.
He actually does. He is a human, but he's just far gone. That's what the deal is. He is rushing at you with abandon. His TN to be hit is 13.
I hit, I think. You keep 3?
Keep 2.
Ooh, you need to...
Not amazing, but not bad.
I've only got a 2 reflex.
The strength of your bow that you carry over, your physical strength is 2, right?
Yeah.
Your bow is about the same physical strength reflection. So you're going to add... And you fired a standard arrow, right?
Yep, standard broadhead. 4 keep 2. I see a 10.
Hell yeah. Holy
Aim a
shit.
19.
Shit pickles.
24.
Not damage? What you rolled?
Yep.
No.
You hit it with 13, so yeah.
24.
24.
I think I just dropped him.
There is down, out, and dead. That's 12, and that's 12 for 24 total. This guy, you literally put an arrow into his lower chest where the lung would be operating, but not quite where the stomach or spleen is. He starts coughing up blood immediately.
I can't do much till next turn, so.
Cool. I finish him. Roll 6, keep 3.
You're rolling your Aijutsu?
Yeah.
That's a 10, isn't it?
Yep.
Check this. That's a 14, a 9, and an 8. You know what? I'd say your shot connects. In the future, by the way, you can always call raises if you think you're going to do an amazing job of hitting. Making those raises, you can actually change the effect of your roll. It's an intrinsic thing to the L5R system. It was like a 13 to hit this guy.
Yeah.
You rolled well enough that you could have like raised to do amazing shit. Like that dice itself is 14. So here this is like this is a 17 right here. Easily, that's 3 extra raises. You can keep an extra dice of damage. You could have aimed for a specific part of his body. I mean, keep that in mind for future rolls. But yeah, this guy is suffering underneath your sword.
Katana is roll 5, keep 2.
Katana is roll 3, keep 2, but you add your strength, so it's gonna be 5k too.
Got it.
2 10s.
3 10.
Don't bother.
No, if you want to keep rolling, go for it.
That's another 10.
Oh boy.
So a 16 and a 22.
Yeah, you just.
Mm-hmm.
He was so.
38.
He was dead beforehand, pretty much. But
You didn't just kill this guy, you executed him. You walked up and you removed his grungy, screaming, dirty-toothed head from his shoulders with one clean, precise hit. This guy took more damage in one combat turn than he had the ability to maintain. The snow is blowing in, and the girls actually come over at this point, and take a look at it. Oh my god, he's gross. It's one of the first things the one girl says. Shirame kind of looks over and says, we should perform a purification ritual upon this area.
yeah.
Even if he's not Shadowlands tainted, there is something evil about this man.
Yeah.
His ghost must be put aside.
I didn't realize he was this far gone, or I would have aimed for a different spot the first time.
Yeah.
I will clean my blade.
Yes.
Because I don't want that on there.
Yeah, I am not going
You do
to
realize it's normal blood as far as you look at it, but it smells weird.
Yep.
Like it looks like blood, but it smells like pee.
Yeah,
you
we're
know?
leaving that arrow in.
Either way, it's...
I am not retrieving that arrow.
First thing first. Shirame is going to do something very basic. Okay. Those are not nice dice to keep, but at least they pass roster. That minimal there is... Yeah, that's a freaking 11. So she has to spend some extra time to do it, to get it done right. But she performs the purification ritual. It turns some of the bottled water she has on her into purification water, and she runs it along the length of your blade. She pulls a corner of prayer strip silk. She folds it 3 times over, then wipes down the blade with that as well. And that effect purifies the sword. And then she's looking over the body, actually. But she's thinking, yeah, this man needs burned. And we have to do something about his soul, because his soul is a wretched thing.
This is going to sound bad.
What?
But I'm going to try to go through his like these sleeves, arm sleeves, whatever. See if he's got any pockets, or any kind of documentation.
Yes.
This is going to be bad, and I'm
No,
gonna
In Rokugan, you're not supposed to go through dead bodies.
Yeah.
I know, but I've got to find out where he came from. Because this is no longer a person. This is a thing. And if this is a thing that was caused by that sword, I have to know where it came from.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a knife on you, like a
Yes, I
tanto? Draw the knife and cut away things and pull things out with the tip of the knife. This way you're not touching a dead body.
Yeah.
Touching a body with a weapon is different than touching a body with... also, touching it with your sword, like your wakizashi or katana, can be considered dishonorable toward the katana, which is why Matsuichi performed the purification ritual as soon as freaking possible.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good old-fashioned perception plus investigation. Except for there's a knife in the way, but that knife is just the tool of measurement.
Yeah. 6K3.
You need to keep these dice. They're freaking amazing. 9. This is 19. That was a 10. We saw that.
Yep.
10! And then a measly 13 on top of that. 33.
19 plus 13.
32.
Yeah, 32. Sorry. Yeah, I'm down 1. 32. My math was wrong. So,
Like I said, I need to find out as much information from this body
dude,
as I can.
make a note that on this day, you performed an amazing investigation of this dead body. They're probably going to take you to that shrine and purify you afterwards because you're technically playing with a dead body.
Oh, I fully anticipate it.
They're also going to sit around some candles and lights and make sure this guy gets cleaned up. This guy has traveling papers on him, even though they're stained as all hell. He has a name. Wada of Nihai. Now, that is a peasant's name if you've ever heard it.
Cool. Anybody know where Nihai is?
Everybody who wants to can make a intelligence plus... History will work. Yeah, actually. History will work. Local knowledge is probably the best skill for it, but still. I roll this for a certain smart girl. Go ahead, roll 2.
I'm probably not going to roll because I've never traveled through Foxlands.
Oh, Lord.
You realize there's a signature on here, and the signature has the name Shoshuro on there.
Okay.
Nihai is a village that occupies a certain territory in Scorpion Lands.
Okay.
He was at one time a Scorpion Clan citizen,
Yeah, Scorpion Cleanse.
and he went far south. By the way, let me tell you something about Scorpion Clan. The Scorpion Clan may be known for being villainous and deceptive and using very nasty methods. The Scorpion are very civilized, and they hold to that. This guy was not.
Yeah, this doesn't fit the standard template.
Yeah.
He had civilized clothes, just he didn't.
They were worn like all hell. They were torn and ragged, and he had wounds hanging out. This guy's clothing actually looked like he had a pair of hakama, which though they're usually worn by samurai. The name Wada of Nihai is definitely like a
Peasant or
like a
soldier.
peasant or merchant, yeah. And this guy was definitely farther gone than a civilized man would have been. You do note he has a few notes on him that it looks like he's scribbled in like what's barely legitimate kanji, but he may have been trying to trace something or track something. And he
Would intelligence calligraphy tell me what he was trying to track?
You can do intelligence plus calligraphy, but you can also realize that
It's probably the sword.
You're going to get, yeah, it's probably the sword. You're going to get really crappy results off of this because he literally scribbled this in his full madness. These don't match the travel paper he has.
Oh, yeah, I fully anticipate that. But, again, it's one of those, more information, the better. 6K3.
Holy shit. Don't even roll, man. It's freaking amazing. Dude, you need to bring these dice into clan war and fight battles with these. You can have your dice back, sir. This is amazing dice.
35.
You actually realize, because he may have been holding it with one hand and writing with the other, that the kanji would be slanted a certain way. So you realize, oh, that's why you can't read it that well. And then you're like, he was literally looking through Hairlands and the bottom part of Scorpion Lands, trying to find something. He's making notes about where he traveled, so you can actually know where he went on the map.
Sweet.
He has been to the village of Hidochi. He's been through the village of Kudo, and he's been through the village of Sakyotoshi, which, though it used to be unaligned, Sakyotoshi was captured by the Scorpion during the recent political events after the Spider Clan were disposed of.
The other two villages are...
Kudo is a Hair Clan village. Meidochi is a Hair Clan village on the border of Kitsune territory that is constantly being traded with. Meidochi might as well be a friend village or a sister village to the Kitsune clan. So he has literally been marauding the borders of the Kitsune clan. After that, his writing is so far gone, you can only guess he's been through Humble Priest Village. Oh, the place you're at right now isn't Humble Priest Village. Humble Priest Village is down the road a little bit more.
Okay.
What happened is this guy may have attacked. Keep in mind, time happened. This guy attacked further down the road, but while you guys were doing other stuff, he was moving down the road. So he appeared further down where this one intersection was, next to the shrine on the border of the forest.
Is there a name or something that can kind of give me any kind of hint about what he was looking for?
No. Just mine, hers, they stole it. Mine, they're all thieves, that kind of shit.
Okay. So, like I said, I'm assuming at this point it's the sword.
Yes.
On the identification papers or transport paper, does it say what his occupation was?
Oh, here's a good one.
Reason
He was a storyteller.
Storyteller.
Which is funny because technically he was also a farmer, but his primary thing he was noted for was he was a storyteller. Eventually, they set the lanterns. They make small paper lanterns from the shrine and set them around his body, and a spell is cast that actually lights the body on fire and cremates it where it lies because no one wants to move this guy. Then Nechi goes out and finds like a stick and then writes on it with some kanji and then pounds it into the ground exactly on the spot where the cremation has just occurred and says, "You may want to build some kind of placative shrine right here and build the road around the spot."
Yeah.
No one should pass over the spot ever again.
The question is it in the middle of the road or is it off the edge of the road?
Oh, he pretty much died in the middle of the road, too. That's the funny
So
thing.
we're going to have to split the road.
The road's going to have a small detour. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean, literally, they're going to split the road and just have, like, a clump of trees or something right there
Yeah.
in the middle.
They'll probably bring in some sacred stones and, like, a post that's carved into 4 corners. And they'll probably put kanji and prayer strips on the post and then surround the post with a sacred stone and make, like, a little shrine/grave area where it's like a crazy guy that was influenced by dark magic died here. May his soul rest.
The road will just slowly migrate to one side.
That is the funny thing. In Rokugan, they have no problem making shrines to dead, dark, magical creatures and whatnot because it's a better idea than just letting their souls go unnoticed on that spot.
Yeah. I'm going to go get purified.
You see me visibly standing like a distance away from 6 feet away from you, just
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad you're getting purified.
So at the shrine, the one monk actually, Shirame probably does the purification ritual actually, but the monk is there and heard there's like an older guy, just some guy in an orange robe essentially. He does weirdly enough have a fur cape made of rabbit pelts, and that actually brings up an interesting question. It's like rabbit pelts. Maybe the Kitsune clan is known for their naturalism, but there's rabbit pelts.
We were on the hair side of the border, so that's not surprising.
Could be gifts that were given.
Could be gifts that were given, or it could be a ceremonial cloak that was given to him by the hair clan.
Nenechi actually will step in and explain. Even though the Kitsune treat their forest very sacredly, we're talking about the Kitsune here. Squirrels, hares, small rodent-like animals that are usually prey of the fox, aren't accorded the same respect. I mean, their bodies are treated with respect when they are killed, but they are still eaten and used as resources. You'll actually find rabbit fur all throughout the Kitsune lands because they naturally consider that a prey animal they can use as a resource. Of course, you also find like chicken feathers everywhere too, but that's the Rokugani thing. So the purification ritual doesn't take too long, but the monk actually wants to hear your story, learns about what just happened outside of it, and the monk actually agrees, yeah, we're going to build a small, very small shrine there, like a good body-sized shrine, and then put the road around it. It's actually relatively cozy. You guys can actually spend the night at the shrine because the alternative is walking through the evening in the snow back to Kitsune. It's only an hour away, but it's an hour away walking in through the snow.
Yeah, we'll head back in the morning.
Yeah, well, you guys head back in the morning.
Older guy, he's gonna be patrolling all night. Someone should go back and let him know.
Volunteering?
No, I just amusing thoughts.
Oh, guess what? She can use her charm. Before you guys go to sleep that night,
Oh, she'll let them
Nenechi
know.
will use her charm to let them know so that they know not to go patrolling.
Double the guard on the sword. Because, oh, man.
Yeah, if it can do that to a cultured individual. Sorry, a storyteller's...
I think he wasn't prestigious, which we know that the sword has some kind of effect on.
He wasn't prestigious.
He's a storyteller.
He was a storyteller, so he may have had some kind of prestige, but he was a peasant storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Noble bloodline?
he had some kind of power to him that got turned against him.
He might have been an untrained shugenja. Like a natural born mage or something.
There are plenty of Ronin Shugenja in the old editions. Okay, so the night goes by uneventfully, although people are scared of the fact that there's that monstrous human over there. So the two girls keep telling ghost stories all night. Like that's the one key guy keeping awake. Like, shut up! I want to go to sleep. Girls are like, what if his ghost crawls through? It's like, shut up!
We're in a shrine, the priest will take care of it.
He had long fingernails. What if the fingernails and hands disconnected from the body? Shut up!
You realize that they're doing it just to torment
Yeah,
you.
these are just ghost stories. Puts my katana on my chest. There's nothing to worry about this.
The following morning, it's cold, but it's one of those like mediated cold where it's not freezing.
Yeah.
It's just cold enough that it's a snow temperature.
Yeah.
And the ground has been touched with snow, including the place where the guy died. The trip back, one of the first people to greet you at the door is Yukimura, and he's actually very glad to see you guys. And he says, I have patrolled that forest. I am very glad that you guys were able to go out and find him quite by accident. I was thinking he would be taking the field spots. I had never thought to take the direct road. He actually nods to you guys and says, in the future, I will heed your advice.
Sir, if the man had any more intelligence than he actually had, he would be on the fields. We were going to this spot of the attack to track him back. We never made it to this spot.
He just went straight down the road.
Yeah,
What a madman.
exactly. Speaking of that, I have some information based on where he's from, where he's been.
Do you want to gather with the rest of the Shugenja?
Sure.
Also, there's a kind of he's more of a monk than a Shugenja.
Yeah.
But there's a man, Kitsune Kosa. And Kitsune Kosa is actually kind of like the chief of religious operations here. He's considered one of the Yoriki, but really he's kind of a religious man. He does have his hair cut short, if not shaved, but this time it's cut short.
Yeah.
And he has the full priestly robes.
I'm going to ask for some clean cloth
Mhm.
or something and put the documents on that cloth
Okay.
so they don't have to touch them to look at them.
You know, with this many heads together, first of all, Nihei is actually known as being a watchtower.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't actually like a village or anything until later. In fact, most of Nihei's growth occurred after 1220.
Okay.
So after the Spider Clan were disposed, then Nihei started growing as an actual village. Before that, it was just a watchtower point that watched over the central lands of the Scorpion. Nihei Tower is actually deep within Scorpion Clan territory. It watches over the road to Rokyo Owari, which is the biggest city in Rokugan as of right now. It's just grown out of proportion. It's essentially a breeding ground for, well, breeding people. And also, anybody can do anything there. I mean, the laws there are so loose, it's stupid. It is essentially the Las Vegas of Rokugan, if not the Los Angeles of Rokugan. It's just a huge sprawl. Nihei Tower has been the watch point to that. It's also the watch point to the castle of the Shoshuro.
I would recommend that somebody inform the daimyo about where this guy came from. Mm-hmm. And that, yes, this particular problem has been solved, but where he got the sword isn't covered in his diary or notes.
When you describe what you've seen to the rest of the Shugenja, they're very shocked. They actually discuss that matches descriptions of Shadowlands madmen in the past. The men that fought under the false Hotori during the clan war. And those who often swore fealty to Lord Daigotsu. Yukimura strokes his chin for a second and says, Nihei is so deep within Scorpion territory that I couldn't see this being a fringe incident. They have magistrates. If he comes from Nihei, he had to have gone somewhere where the Scorpion don't have as much sway. Keep in mind, the Scorpion and the Spider Clan are definitely enemies. They have not been allies at any point in history. They've never been close. In fact, if anything, the Scorpion Clan would be elated to hear the Spider Clan was completely and utterly destroyed.
They were one of the critical people that helped do it.
Yes.
What is anything major that, or even like historical? Was there a battlefield or something between Nihai and the first attacks happened?
The Scorpions' battlefronts against the Spider Clan.
Yeah.
Because the Scorpion were extremely good at keeping the Spider Clan the hell out of their territory. Mm-hmm. The Scorpions' battle with the Spider Clan took place along the Shinneman Forest, which is a wide front. The Shinneman Forest is the biggest forest in Rokugan. The entire western border of Scorpion lands is the Shinneman Forest, with one exception. There is a recently conquered territory they actually got from the Unicorn back in the day, because it had been under the control of the Spider, and they just kind of took it. That area goes out into the western plains, but that's a very thin strip.
Okay, how close is Nihai to the Shinneman Forest?
Not. It's in the middle of Scorpion territory.
So this documentation gives no reason why the guy would have left Nihai.
Of all the stuff you've gathered, the only thing close, Zakio Toshi is on the border of the Shinneman Forest.
This is his travel log.
Yeah.
Matsuichi, Kudo.
What was the first place mentioned?
The first place mentioned?
Yeah.
You don't know if you're reading it in the right order.
Yeah.
The first place he mentioned was Meidochi, but weirdly enough, the stuff with like the most clean writing appears to be Zakio Toshi.
So my recommendation is he got the sword probably from Zakio Toshi, somewhere between Zakio Toshi and Nihai.
Kudo, is that in between Meidochi and Zakio Toshi?
If you look at a map of Rokugan, Kudo is across the river and down the road quite a ways from Zakio Toshi. In fact, Hair Clan territory essentially is that land between Kudo and Meidochi. So Zakio Toshi, remember, Zakio Toshi was captured by the Scorpion recently. It used to be an unaligned city. Scorpion took it over. And like I said, they took it over after the Spider got overthrown. So that's a more recent event. The Scorpion have been spreading their tendrils out after they got rid of the Spider. They were able to afford more territory because now they have more money since they're in power.
So they're in the best financial position because they didn't suffer as much.
Because they kept the Spider Clan out for the most part.
So how did a peasant get their hands on a spider sword in Zakio Toshi? Because that's where they could have found something from Spider.
Yeah.
How does a peasant afford a sword?
Peasant shouldn't be able to afford a sword.
Peasants cannot hold a sword according to Rokugani law.
And is there a way for a peasant? The name is sounds like he is a
Now, Wada in like ancient times was considered a relatively royal name, but that name nowadays is mostly held. If you're using it as your first name, it's essentially a peasant name. The tales in which Wada was even a samurai name, that's like 1st, 2nd century Rokugan.
There's not much more we can really investigate from here. We'd have to go to Zakio Toshi to even investigate anything else. Frankly, that's something that probably I would leave to the actual Fox Clan to investigate, because I still have to be here as the Phoenix representative.
Speaking of getting yelled at, you want to talk with Shugenja from the Phoenix Clan?
I better.
They were supposed to talk to you that one night, but you were out on the town.
Yeah, and I will even inform them of what I found.
You know what? Surprising treat. The person on the other end that's actually going to give you some information on how to undo the Shadowland Swords is the Master of Air. So the leader of the Phoenix Clan Elemental Council, because the Master of Air isn't just the Master of Air, she is also the leader of the Elemental Council.
Bow.
Yeah. She's kind of a funny old woman, really. Leaning kind of too close to the scrolls, looking back at you. She says, well, this sword has a propensity to cut against you based on your rank in this world. If you have great skill and knowledge, it will strike out against you. If you're an amateur at something, it's less likely to grasp onto you because it doesn't consider you as much of a toy for its tendrils. So an amateur would do much better handling this than a professional would. Have amateur shugenja handle the disenchantment of this sword. Have amateur workers work at the handling of this sword. It'll turn out far better than you expect, and they'll learn great things from it. Now, I would say it is best to probably melt the sword down into an ingot and then lose the ingot somewhere.
Understood. I will make that recommendation. I will also give them the full rundown on the guy.
Oh, Nihai.
Where he from, what documentation we had, his scribblings. I'll even show her the scribblings if she wants them.
The pink one's from knee-high, too.
What pink one?
Oh, I know people. Beware of scorpions that wear pink.
Intelligence check.
Go ahead.
Was there a scorpion wearing pink?
Go ahead and roll it. You're in my territory.
All 3.
2 threes and a 10. Actually, go ahead and roll it.
Oh.
You know what's good enough, though? No, the scorpions were pretty much wearing... Dude, pink would stand out as a freaking scorpion color. They like blood red, they like black, sometimes dark gray, sometimes standard crimson.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't wear... Scorpions don't wear pink. What kind of bullshit's that? And so Fubukiya looks over and says, so don't worry, you have your instructions. Amateur hands will do better at this. Don't sleep that night, and make sure to use the 8-point method of the ritual. The 5 rings will not be enough. You must use an older 8-point ritual. Once this happens, everything should be fine. And do not touch the sword directly if you're a shugenja. If you are a craftsman, I would recommend touching the sword.
Okay.
The sword would not respect a craftsman as much as it would a shugenja or a full-fledged swordsman.
What about a samurai craftsman? As far as I know, the only apprentice currently here.
What clan is this swordsman from?
You have no idea.
I actually did ask. You said you'd tell me later.
No.
I don't think you relate that information, though.
He's currently Ronin.
She says, what?
Matsuichi. Matsuichi.
She has an intelligence roll.
It actually probably is a public incident, so yeah.
Say, I'm assuming you changed the way you used to dress.
Oh, yeah, I'm not. It's
So-
all obvious.
Something tells me I remember a young boy named Matsuichi once, but I'm not sure.
I know he's not wearing a mon and doesn't have a family name at this that he's divulged to me.
He is not a shugenja. He is a Ronin samurai, and he is a craftsman. He should be fine. Let him have every opportunity to rest and find peace. Get him good food. Always green tea, not sake.
Got it.
The water must be purified.
Purified blood. Got it.
Stay away from bread. That was a strange fad anyway. Brown rice should do. Brown rice and vegetables. No meat. Yes, no meat for this time. In fact, no meat for a little bit of time afterward and a little bit of time before. For everybody. Shugenja and everybody.
Got it.
Everybody counting the sword should keep away from meat just because meat tends to be a transmission mode for strange things. After all, meat carries blood, and blood is the source of dark magic.
Understood.
Very well. Well, I have crows to go catch. I will let you carry on with your mission of taking care of this doppelganger sword.
Absolutely looking completely and utterly confused. Crows?
She just giggles and the spell fades away.
Literally in the middle of note. Crows? I mean, at least ravens are intelligent enough to be taught. Crows?
Akakyoku's having an existential moment over some minor thing that the Master of Air said. 2 days after, an Ashigaru in winter clothing and in Sparrow Clan uniform rides a winterized horse down the road to the western gates of Kyuden Kitsune, inside the forest, of course. And even though the trees are naked and covered in snow, this Ashigaru dismounts and passes a letter at the door. The letter is brought to the daimyo as you're holding court, and she stands up immediately after she's read the first. It's like a short letter because it's like just a few beans of writing on a piece of paper, right? She lets it flitter to the floor and says, I'm going to gather a small entourage of samurai. The Mantis envoy have arrived and are coming.
I get up and go put on my full formals.
Session shall end here. Any last commentary?
Crows? Really?
You guys get 3 experience points. Actually, get 4 experience points because you actually did a combat where you killed a guy. And both of you guys did a sterling service in offing this guy. That, and there's going to be a bit of a time skip as far as things are concerned.